Hey everyone, it's Sean Butner, Certified High Performance Coach, and today's video we're going to talk about something related to the 4th of July. Actually, this month is going to be the month of, let me get the notes queued up here, the month of courage in honor of the 4th of July, which is this weekend that this video is being created. So, I'm Sean Butner, Certified High Performance Coach, and I help people figure out self-development and career planning and career development so that they can live the lives that they really want and get to that next level of awesome in their life. Now, have you ever wondered how politics kind of worked and this idea, especially in the U.S., of the citizen and how that's played out in history for the last 200 some odd years? The history of the U.S. and how that's actually helped democracy work? That's a long question, I know. But I mean, have you ever wondered how the quality and values and virtues of a citizen directly relate to their government, right? Whether you're here in the U.S. or not. I always think about these questions around the 4th of July because it's a chance to kind of reflect on why I love my country, and it's also, it just reminds me of family gatherings growing up. It's humid in the Midwest. There's the smell of spent bottle rockets and other fireworks. My dad and uncle are playing, usually, growing up, would play this very dangerous game of drink a lot of beer and blow shit up, or blow stuff up, sorry. Luckily, no accidents actually happened. I remember my uncle's dog, Poncho, barking incessantly because he really just could not handle it and just wanted the insanity to stop. And of course, basic 4th of July foods of hot dogs and hamburgers and potato salad and all that. And I remember, playing basketball with my cousins and my uncle in my uncle's driveway. I remember like very vividly when I was like 5 or 6, my dad had, I think, quarter sticks or tenth of a sticks of dynamite because that's really what you want to be playing with after drinking a ton of beer. My dad had, my uncle had a painter's bucket. It was like one of those 10-gallon like white buckets. They filled with water. They lit one of these things in, and it's literally like this like weird like wet pop sound. And it was exactly like when Bugs Bunny like plugs in the end of Elmer Fudd's gun and he pulls the trigger and it just kind of like splays out, So that's what happened to the bucket that year. And tons of like weird stuff like that. But what I remember the most is, it's the 4th of July for me. Was all about gathering people. It's all about getting together. It's all about saying hi to strangers. Not too many, I guess, because I was really young. But this like common sense of connectedness, of history, and it brought people together. It was a day of remembrance and a day of shared civic pride. And I remember, the adults talking about politics and whatever of the day, and it was just really, really cool. And it got me thinking, like, what does it take to be a good citizen? And so here are my ideas. They're not right or wrong. It's just kind of what I believe in and what I feel, probably should happen. I think some of it you get from history books and stuff, but I think it's just right. And so here we go. And be thinking about what your 5 are, because at the end of the video, I'm going to ask you and have you post below because I'm just curious to see what you think. But it seems to me that a lot of times we talk about the nostalgia of the U.S. in my instance. There's this common sense of purpose, of goodness and good intent that if you pay attention to politics at all nowadays, it seems like we've lost. Whether you're on whatever side, half of the country tends to be demonized, or it seems, at least that's how the media portrays it. And the way that Congress has not been working and has its lowest approval rating just because they can't work together. And it's really, it's heart-wrenching. It's really heart-wrenching for me. But, maybe if we all aspire to be our ideal citizen or our view of that would change. And that's my hope. So that's get into the 5 things that I think it takes to be a really awesome citizen of whatever country, but especially the US because that's where I'm at right now. So first is to basically serve something other than yourself, whether that's your community or other people. Capitalism I think works best when it's raising the boat, everyone's boat, and helping out as many people as possible. When a business or a person makes money, but then can pull up their community or those around them. An example of this is a lot of like public works projects that, like building roads and utilities and power grids and all that stuff. I think in a lot of ways, especially when we didn't have those, helped to raise the quality of life of everyone. Even though, a couple of the utilities had monopolies and stuff. But it's totally good because it benefited the community, it benefited the state and our nation. So that's pretty cool. The second thing I think it takes to be a really awesome citizen is to just find commonality with everyone, right? We all, whatever your political beliefs or upbringing or ethnicity, we all want to provide for our families. We all want to be able to afford food and, shelter. We all don't want to live in violent places, I believe. I believe we all really want to work hard. We all want to better ourselves and make ourselves as best as we possibly can on this journey of life to just figure out who we are. So if you don't have anything in common along those lines, then you're probably a robot and, Skynet's here, we're all doomed. Just kidding, but I'm sure that if you actually took a second to reflect and just think of, hey, we have millions and millions of people who are just like me here that, are trying to do their best to make sense of the way that the economy is structured, depending on where you're at and your education level and all that stuff. Like, we all want essentially the same thing at a base level, and it's our job to remember that, and not demonize one another. Rich people aren't bad, poor people aren't lazy. Like, those broad strokes don't serve the national dialogue. And I'll admit, you probably can find some rich people that are evil and some poor people that are lazy, but overall, I honestly don't think that that's the case. The next part, okay. Educate yourself and be as informed as you can. And don't fall into media bias. And what do I mean by that? So, we don't have, at least in my opinion, a strong media representation of politics. It's all about one-liners, it's all about headlines, it's all about basically being entertainment to get people to watch versus, promoting a national dialogue that is helpful and serves one another, or serves everyone. So the only way to guard against that is to make your own decisions, be informed, and pull from multiple sources. So if you get all your news from just The Daily Show, just Fox News, just CNN, just MSNBC, just Breitbart, or just whatever, right? Whatever your flavor is, if you're only getting your news from one source, you're not going to have that fleshed out perspective on any particular issue, and you're not going to be able to be the most effective when it comes to voting, when it comes to having an opinion and talking to people. So it's really important to be informed and to be educated on all the issues and stuff, without kind of falling into that trap. Okay, next part, the fourth idea for what I think it takes to be a model citizen, is to just improve yourself, to try to be the best person you can be. It's many cultures have a rite of passage, and when you think about it, what is our rite of passage right now, right? Wherever you're at, whether, again, like, I'm U.S. centric because that's where I live. Kind of, high school, you're like teenage and early 20s is kind of that transition period, but it's should be more focus, and there should be more talk, I think, of how do you step into adulthood? How do you recover from past trauma? How do you recover from all the stuff your parents did? Bless their souls. My parents were awesome. But they're people too, and they have their own stuff, and I have my own stuff, and we all have to work on our stuff in order to just be as impactful and live life as vibrantly and as joyous as we can, in my belief. That's something that I always got from my dad. He's always about, just trying to do your best, and my mom was always about trying to learn as much as you can, so that those two things together really embody that belief for me. And it served me really well, just that's how you become a better person. That's how you, don't pass on your baggage of stuff to future generations or people you're in relationships with or anything. So I think that's really important, because with that character building thing where you discover who you are and peel back some of the things that might, cause you harm, that benefits everyone, because you'll be more apt to make better decisions when you vote and stuff like that. So the fifth thing, this is how I'm going to sum it up, right? Don't buy into fear, because the terrorists win if you buy into fear. And what do I mean by that? It's, you take a look at all the crazy stuff that's happened in the last, 16 years, with 9/11. You talk about, the San Bernardino thing. You talk about the terrible thing that happened in Orlando, right? And, people call it terrorism, and fine, cool. Yeah, it is, because people are fearful because of it. But as soon as we give in to that fear and start to react out of that fear, it's accomplishing what the intent of that action was, which is to cause fear. And terror is part of terrorism. And we need to step beyond that, I think, and we need to realize that we're stronger together, and that alienating any type of group or people is just going to make the situation worse, because you talk about the few refugees that we're accepting from overseas, and to have been driven out of your home through violence, through no fault of your own, trying to just do the basic things that we all want to do, which is have food, have shelter, contribute back to our communities, come over here and then be denied, just because, you're from a crazy area, and it's not safe for us, and we don't want you to, we're painting you in the light of the people that drove you here. Like, what options do you have? Do you go to another country and potentially get, pushed back? That's how people end up being recruited, I think. So anyways, don't want to get too much into that or too political. That's just my personal belief, and so as you're thinking about your 5 things that make a good citizen, I'll just give you some guidelines that I tried to follow when I was coming up with mine, which is, give your fellow citizens the benefit of the doubt. Now, like I said, we're not right, we're not wrong. Our voices and different perspectives, if we can talk about them, actually make us much stronger. So it's needed to have these different perspectives and stuff. So I hope you have a different perspective and you can share that with us, because that would be awesome. I definitely want to hear it. I might not agree with it, but I definitely want to hear it. So, be sure to post your 5 things in the comments below. Don't think everyone has to agree with you, or you have to agree with everyone. That's one of the great parts, I think, of living in the U.S. and our democracy is you can have different things, but don't get personal with it, right? It's just ideas, and ideas can change, and ideas should change. As soon as you get locked into an idea and you can't change anything, that's when bad things happen, because you can't adapt. And that's proven in nature, that's proven through history, that when you don't adapt, things break down and things don't happen. And just ask Borders. The old bookstore that doesn't exist anymore because they didn't adapt to online. Anyways, um, and remember that wherever you're a citizen of, or what you're a citizen of, with citizenship comes great responsibility. And what do I mean by that? It's, the one vote that you have to influence things, when aggregated, can be a lot. And, when you invoke your rights, if you have free speech and you say something that's dumb or racist, and someone's like, hey, that was dumb or racist or liberal or conservative or whatever, people are going to get riled up on, that you're responsible for how you react. You could very easily get upset and, shoot something back and be really angry about it, or you'd be like, okay, you have a different perspective, totally cool, no skin off my back, just be cool about it, okay? Okay? Please? And then and back to the parade growing up, or, the family gatherings growing up, just remember that we're all in this together and act accordingly, We're all Americans, we're all citizens of this world, you're all, Brits or Canadians or Mexicans or, whatever country you're from, we're all in our countries in it together, and globally we're in it together, because, we never do anything alone. You don't do business alone, you don't do school alone, you don't grow up alone, most of the time. So, all right. If you like this, again, I'd love for you to think about what you think, 5 things you think it takes to be a good citizen, and just post that below, because I'm just really super curious. I think it'll be awesome to see all of your perspectives on what that is, and just want to honor that. If you like this video, share it. Like I said, this video series is going to be about courage for the month of July. Our next video, or my next video, is going to be about expressing yourself, because it takes a lot of courage to say, hey, I believe in this, and shout it out to the world. So I guess I just did that too. So if you wanted a role model, maybe that's one. So that's me, though. But yeah, so next week I'll talk about expressing yourself more. Hope you liked it. If you like this video, do the social media thing and like, share, or comment. Again, I'd love to hear your 5 things, and I'll see you guys next week.